I'm not gonna lie to you. It really does get sad sometimes when like you see all your friends and stuff like starting families and having kids and you don't have any but
You did not care about anyone but yourself. You wanted everyone to believe this was an accident, but you picked Mother's Day on purpose. And you planned this out in a way you thought that perfect for you to get away. Jessica was loved, and even though you didn't love her, we did.
What happens when a day meant for love and celebration turns into an unspeakable tragedy? For Jessica Hutchinson, what should have been a joyous Mother's Day in 2021 became the day her life was brutally cut short by the one person she trusted most, her own husband. The reason? A gift that wasn't up to her expectations. But the horror didn't end with the murder. What followed was even more chilling. In the mid-hours of May 10th, 2021, her husband walked into a police station barefooted to report his wife as missing. What investigators didn't know at the time was that the very man reporting her disappearance was the one responsible for it. For 11 agonizing days, he played the part of a concerned husband, helping search for his missing wife, all while deceiving everyone around him. Yet the truth was far darker than anyone could have imagined. It wasn't until May 21, 2021, that detectives made a harrowing discovery. Jessica's lifeless body was found in Linear Park in East Hartford. She had suffered multiple bruises, but most chillingly, she had been strangled in the most brutal way. What could drive a man to betray the woman he loved in such a horrific way? How could an ordinary Mother's Day turn into a nightmare of deception, murder, and anguish? But before we get to that bone-chilling moment that changed everything, let me take you back to where this seemingly perfect love story began. Because the most dangerous relationships are the ones that look absolutely flawless from the outside. Jessica Hutchinson was born on January 4, 1991, in Kingston, Jamaica. At the age of 7, she moved to Hartford, Connecticut with her family, where she was raised by her loving parents, Milton and Hope Edwards. From a young age, Jessica's infectious sense of humor, compassionate nature, and positive attitude made her a beacon of light to those around her. She was the type of person who could lift the spirits of anyone in the room, and her ability to see the good in others was unmatched. Her family, friends, and community loved her deeply. Jessica was not only a daughter, but a sister and a friend to many. Known for her kindness and generosity, she made a lasting impact on everyone who crossed her path. Jessica's journey took her from Jamaica to the United States, where she became a strong and driven woman, building a future for herself and her son, Jaden.
Come on, Swingy. Rain, be careful those fingers. Come on, Swingy. Hey, look, he's coming here.
He wicked out, wicked.
yeah, he's coming fast. Go ahead, buddy.
You speed it.
Yeah, slow down, buddy. Oh,
I put it there for him.
Now he like, I ain't want that much. Okay.
So you leave right there.
Wicked out, wicked out, wicked.
Oh my God, go sweet boy.
Go, twang.
But Jessica was more than just a loving family member. She was a fighter, an achiever, and a dedicated mother. After graduating from East Hartford High School in 2009, Jessica pursued her dreams with an eagerness that defined her character. She decided to further her education at Manchester Community College, where she earned an associate's degree in early childhood education. Jessica was deeply passionate about working with children, and her studies reflected that dedication to making a difference in the lives of young ones. Her ambition didn't stop there. Jessica was determined to better herself and create opportunities for her future. She went on to become a respiratory therapist, a testament to her drive and determination to help others. Whether in her career or her personal life, Jessica believed in self-improvement and working hard to create a brighter future for those she loved. While Jessica's academic and professional achievements were impressive, it was another role that truly defined her. At the heart of her world was her 8-month-old son, Jaden. Jessica adored her son and loved being a mother. She placed his happiness and well-being above everything else. She worked tirelessly to support him and ensure that he had everything he needed. Despite the challenges of balancing motherhood, work, and her education, Jessica remained devoted to Jaden, always prioritizing his care and happiness. Her son Jaden was not just a source of joy for her, but the reason she pushed forward every day. Being a mother was the most important job in her life, and she embraced it with the same ambition and passion that she applied to everything else. Jessica's love for her son was boundless, and it was clear to all who knew her that she would go to lengths to make sure Jaden had a bright future. Jessica's family meant everything to her. Raised in a loving home by her parents, Milton and Hope, Jessica learned the value of strong family bonds. Her upbringing, filled with love and care, shaped the woman she became. Throughout her life, Jessica was known for her strong connection to her family, always there for them and creating lasting memories with those she loved. Despite the challenges of balancing work, education, and motherhood, Jessica worked at an Aldi warehouse in South Windsor, Connecticut, always striving to provide for her family. Jessica's relationship with her husband, 26-year-old Taj Hutchinson, was an integral part of her life. Together, they built a home in South Windsor, Connecticut, where they raised their son. However, their relationship was far from perfect. Reports suggest that their marriage had been strained for years, marked by escalating arguments and unresolved issues. Although Jessica had begun filling out divorce papers, they were never filed. Her husband, Taj, had exhibited abusive behavior that seemed to grow worse over time. Jessica always tried to make it work for the sake of her family. She was a devoted wife and mother, doing everything she could to keep her family together. However, as time passed, Jessica's marriage became increasingly strained as Taj's behavior became more troubling. Despite the challenges in her relationship, Jessica remained hopeful, working hard to balance all aspects of her life. She was determined to create a safe and loving environment for her son, and she continued to pursue her personal and professional goals with the same ambition and dedication she had always shown. But soon, that fragile hope would demand the ultimate price, a life. On Mother's Day, May 9th, 2021, a day meant to celebrate mothers everywhere, Jessica's life was tragically cut short by the very person who had vowed to love and protect her, her husband, Taj Hutchinson. What should have been a joyful occasion to honor Jessica's role as a mother became a heartbreaking tragedy. What began as an argument on the evening of May 8th quickly escalated when Taj, in a fit of anger, pushed Jessica with enough force to cause her to hit her head. The injury left her bleeding, and the severity of the situation led them both to sleep in separate rooms that night, perhaps hoping for some distance to calm the situation. However, that night's tension was only the beginning of the tragic series of events that would unfold over the weekend. The argument between Taj and Jessica continued into the next day, May 9th, as emotions ran high. Rather than cooling off, the conflict deepened, leaving Jessica emotionally and physically drained. By May 10th, the argument would turn violent. Taj later claimed that Jessica, in a fit of rage, grabbed a kitchen knife, presumably in an attempt to defend herself or retaliate against the ongoing abuse. In the heat of the confrontation, Taj explained that he wrestled the knife from her, and the struggle quickly escalated into a physical fight. In an act of overwhelming aggression, Taj pinned Jessica to the ground. With cold and unyielding force, he kneeled on her neck and back, trapping her in a position where she was unable to breathe. The weight of his body and the pressure on her neck made it impossible for Jessica to get air, and within moments, her life was snuffed out. The medical examiner later confirmed that Jessica died from asphyxia due to compression of her torso and neck, a tragic and brutal way to end the life of someone who had so much love to give. She had fought through so much in her life already, raising her young son, building a career, and striving to provide a better future for her family. Yet, in the end, it was the hands of the person she trusted most that ended her life. In fact, he left Jessica's lifeless body on the floor of their home, seemingly unaffected by the horror of what had just transpired. Throughout the day, he answered phone calls from concerned family members, carrying on as if nothing had happened. The gruesome reality of the situation seemed to have no effect on him in those crucial hours following Jessica's death. Little did anyone know, Taj had a chilling plan. Several hours later, Taj wrapped Jessica's body in a sheet, trying to conceal the extent of his crime. He placed her body in the back of his SUV, cruel and disturbing action in an attempt to move her away from the scene. His actions were not those of a grieving husband, but of someone who was trying to cover his tracks. Jessica's sister, growing increasingly suspicious, arrived at the condo and immediately noticed something disturbing: the covered body in the back of Taj's car. Her heart sank as she realized the unthinkable. Without wasting another second, she immediately called 911, fearing the worst. Taj, knowing that the net was closing in on him, tried to act swiftly. In a desperate attempt to conceal his crime, with Jessica's body hidden in the back of his vehicle, Taj drove far from their home, hoping that a secluded area would offer him the opportunity to erase his actions. Taj fled to a wooded area near the Hackham River in East Hartford, far enough away to try to bury his crime. He dumped Jessica's body in the remote location. But what he did next would prove to be just as callous and cold-hearted as the crime itself. Instead of showing any remorse or concern for his wife, Taj arrived barefoot at the East Hartford Police Department, where he reported Jessica missing. His actions suggested he was playing a role, trying to portray himself as a devastated, worried husband who was desperate to find his missing wife. In an appalling attempt to deceive everyone around him, Taj actively participated in the search efforts, joining Jessica's family and friends in their quest to find her. The community rallied together, desperately hoping for a different outcome, but all the while, Taj continued to play his part. For 11 agonizing days, Jessica's family, friends, and law enforcement worked tirelessly, scouring every possible location in hopes of finding her.
30-year-old Jessica Edwards was reported missing on Monday. Her phone is off and her car is still parked at her house. Tonight, her sister, desperate for answers.
I just want my sister back. Right now, all I want is my sister back. So please help us look for her.
Police now asking for help and any trace of information that could help them track Jessica down. Fox 61's Gabby Molina in South Windsor tonight. Gabby, what have you learned?
Ben and Jen, I spoke to Jessica Edwards' family tonight, and they tell me that it's very unlike her to leave without telling anyone. They said they're very concerned about her safety, and they're asking for anyone with any information to come forward.
I'm broken without her. I'm broken without her.
30-year-old Jessica Edwards of South Windsor was last seen by her sister late Sunday evening, Mother's Day, which she spent with her 7-month-old son, who her family says she would never leave.
I want her son to be able to be held by his mom again.
Police say Edwards' husband said he last saw her at 7 o'clock the next morning, leaving with an unknown person. She was reported missing that day. Her car was found at home and her phone is off. Police now trying to find out where she could be.
See if we can get some more information on where she might be or where she might have gone. Because as far as physical addresses other than her area, we don't have much to go on.
Her family doing what they can to bring their loved one home, searching the area off of Pleasant Valley Road Thursday evening and putting up missing person posters. This is one of the many posters they put up around the Cinnamon Springs condo complex where Jessica lives. Neighbors say that police have had a presence here all week long.
Detectives from canines to police officers have been around here, day in, day night. They've been sniffing around from here and across the way to the other condominiums there.
Both police and Edwards' family trying to find answers.
I just know that she's not home. I know that she's not here with us right now, so she needs to be found. That's all I know. That's all I know, that she needs to come home.
South Windsor police say they have not ruled out foul play and are exploring every possibility, saying they just want her home safe.
And to Jessica, if you're watching, please contact us and let us know you're okay.
Police used Jessica's phone GPS data and drones to narrow down the search area, yet no one could have predicted where the truth would ultimately lead. As the days passed, the police investigation began to zero in on Taj. Initially, he had cooperated with authorities, but something wasn't right. His story began to unravel during questioning. The inconsistencies in his statements and his lack of genuine concern for his wife's disappearance raised alarm bells for investigators. Taj, instead of being overwhelmed by grief, seemed to be more concerned with mundane issues. Shockingly, he inquired about Connecticut laws related to airsoft guns during the investigation, a bizarre and inappropriate topic given the severity of the situation. His behavior, combined with the mounting evidence, led investigators to focus on him as the primary suspect. On May 21, 2021, the discovery of Jessica's body in Linear Park in East Hartford confirmed the investigators' suspicions. It was a heartbreaking moment for her family, who had been desperately holding on to hope. The discovery of her body would soon reveal the grim details of the crime and the horrifying cover-up that Taj had orchestrated. As the investigation continued, law enforcement uncovered more disturbing facts. Taj had not only lied about Jessica's disappearance, but he had also been trying to cover his tracks. His actions in the days following the murder were designed to create the illusion that he was an innocent man, a grieving husband who had no idea what happened to his wife. However, the evidence suggested otherwise. It became clear that Taj had meticulously tried to erase any connection between himself and Jessica's death, including the calculated decision to dump her body in a remote, secluded area. One of the most shocking revelations was that Jessica had filled out divorce papers but had never filed them. This detail pointed to the deep unrest in their marriage, revealing the emotional turmoil and unresolved conflict that had been brewing for years. Jessica's attempt to break free from the abuse she had endured in the marriage had set the stage for the tragedy that would ultimately unfold. Faced with mounting evidence and pressure from authorities, Taj eventually confessed to killing Jessica. He admitted that the altercation had escalated to a point where he pinned Jessica to the ground, kneeling on her neck and back until she stopped breathing. The admission of guilt, however, could not undo the devastating harm he had caused. Jessica's life was tragically taken, and her family was left to mourn her brutal death, which was compounded by the betrayal of someone who was supposed to love and protect her. Taj Hutchinson was arrested on May 21, 2021, the same day Jessica's body was discovered. He was charged with first-degree manslaughter, and his bail was set at $1.5 million.
Ben, you can see this White House behind me. That's where police spent hours with Hutchinson inside before he was taken into custody just about an hour ago at around 9 o'clock tonight. Of the moments that he was escorted out of the home in handcuffs by 2 police officers and placed into an unmarked vehicle. And we know that the 22-year-old is charged with manslaughter, but could be facing more charges pending the results of the autopsy. Fox 61 also has exclusive video from earlier today when we saw police talking with him outside of the home, around the back of the house near the garage. We were also here when a baby was taken out of this home. We saw a man carry the baby into a car with state plates. They drove off with a Manchester police car following closely behind. Jessica Edwards was a mom to a 7-month-old baby, but police could not confirm if that was the child we saw carried out of this home. This is a residential area, and people here told me they had heard about Edwards because her family had been in the neighborhood recently.
The sister had walked through our neighborhood last week knocking on doors, asking if we had seen anything suspicious or anything like that. She had told us that her sister's mother-in-law lived in the neighborhood.
Police say that Hutchinson is being held on a $1 million bond, and he is expected to be arraigned in court on Monday. Live in Manchester.
His actions, ranging from the brutal murder of his wife to the cover-up that followed, shocked everyone, from his own family to the community that had once known them as a couple.
Good morning, guys, and such a heartbreaking end to this search for Jessica. We know that Hutchinson has been charged with first-degree manslaughter. He's being held on $1 million bond, and take a look at this, because over the weekend, the South Windsor Police Department releasing his mugshot as well. Now, South Windsor Police did say that Hutchinson did cooperate with investigators and that issues with his story ultimately helped them build a case against him. And we also know Hutchinson could face more charges pending the results of Jessica's autopsy. And take a look at this video right here, because Fox 61 was there on Friday as Hutchinson was escorted out of a Manchester home in handcuffs by 2 police officers. And we also have some exclusive video from earlier that day when we saw police talking with him outside of that home as well. Now, we also saw a baby get taken out of the home as well, and a man carried that baby into a car with state plates, and they drove off with the Manchester police car following closely behind them. Now, we do know Jessica Edwards was a mom to a 7-month-old baby, but police could not confirm if that was a child we saw carried out of the home. And following this tragic end to the search for Jessica, the community coming together in South Windsor over the weekend for a vigil. And that is where Jessica was remembered as a loving mother, a sister, a daughter, and friend. And we also expect Jessica's family to be outside here of the court this morning ahead of that arraignment. Again, Hutchinson due in court this morning.
The revelation of Taj's deceit and cruelty left Jessica's loved ones in utter disbelief, struggling to comprehend how the man they once trusted could be capable of such a heinous act.
Yeah, it was a very emotional day inside court as about half a dozen members of Jessica Edwards' family spoke about how her killing has impacted their life and the life of her young son, Jaden. 30-year-old Jessica Edwards had her whole life in front of her until on May 10th of 2021, it was cut short. Edwards, who just months before her killing gave birth to her son, Jaden, was by her husband, 26-year-old Taj Hutchinson, following a domestic dispute on Mother's Day that escalated into homicide. According to Hutchinson's arrest warrant, he admitted he knelt on Jessica's neck and back until she stopped moving. It happened inside their South Windsor condo while their 9-month-old was inside. Hutchinson loaded his wife's body in his SUV and dumped it in Lanier Park in East Hartford near the entrance to the Hockanum River. In the days that followed, Hutchinson acted like his wife just went missing. He denied any involvement and even actively participated in the search for her body. Police were able to use Edwards' phone GPS location data and drones to eventually find her body 11 days later. That's when Hutchinson finally came clean and admitted to killing Jessica. In the courtroom today, Jessica's mother sobbed with raw emotion, and her sister, who stepped up to adopt Jessica's son Jaden, said that his father robbed him.
Robbing Jaden the chance of ever meeting his amazing, caring, and loving mother. We want the court to understand that this is a diabolical act done in the presence of Jaden, who no doubt stared helplessly as the murderer executed his plan with ease.
You did not care about anyone but yourself. You wanted everyone to believe this was an accident, but you picked Mother's Day on purpose. And you planned this murder out in a way you thought that perfect for you to get away. Jessica was loved, and even though you didn't love her, we did.
In the end, Judge David Gold had the option of sentencing Hutchinson to between 25 and 30 years in prison, ultimately gave him 27 years with 3 years of special parole, and ordered him to stay away from Edwards' family, including his own son, for the rest of his life.
The unraveling of Taj's lies and the discovery of Jessica's body marked the beginning of the long road to justice. But for Jessica's family, the emotional toll was immeasurable.
Can someone pretend that they didn't know what was going on with her, and all this time they knew what the heck was going on? Like, you must have played it out real good for thinking nobody was going to come out and do nothing.
The realization that their loved one had not only been killed, but also discarded like a piece of trash was a bitter pill to swallow. The trauma of losing Jessica in such a violent and senseless way left scars that would never heal.
I feel empty. My mom feels empty. I feel like I lost my best friend. I feel like I just died with her, honestly.
Despite the pain, Jessica's family remained determined to honor her memory. The charges against Taj initially began with manslaughter, but soon evolved into a more severe accusation of murder. Yet, in an unexpected turn, a plea agreement was reached, and he pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter, risk of injury to a child, and tampering with evidence. This plea deal not only spared him from a lengthy murder trial, but also guaranteed him a sentence of 27 years in prison. On November 19, 2024, 3 long years after the tragic death of Jessica, Judge David P. Gold issued the final sentence. The breakdown was 20 years for manslaughter, 3 years for risking injury to a child, and 4 years for tampering with evidence. While this sentence was a form of justice, it was far from what Jessica's family had hoped for. To them, it wasn't enough. They had wanted more than just 27 years. They wanted accountability that truly reflected the gravity of the loss they had endured. Jessica's family felt deeply that this sentence didn't honor her life adequately. They viewed the plea deal and the resulting sentence as a slap in the face. To them, Jessica's life was priceless, and no number of years behind bars could ever truly make up for the irreplaceable loss they felt.
If this is what they call justice, I guess we have to just take it.
They had hoped for a much harsher sentence, perhaps the full 30 years the law allowed, believing that it would have been a more fitting consequence for such a senseless tragedy.
He should be denied bail the same way the family was denied the truth when they asked him what time J.E. left the house.
Despite the legal process, they felt robbed of the justice they so desperately sought. The emotional scars left by Jessica's death were not something that could be healed by a mere prison sentence, and the family knew they would have to live with the heartache for the rest of their lives. Jessica's family was devastated by her tragic death. Jessica's sister, Yannick, who later adopted Jayden, expressed the emotional toll the murder had taken on their family, particularly the long-lasting impact it would have on Jayden, who was present during the murder. The community of South Windsor rallied around Jessica's family, offering support through vigils, search efforts, and donations. A GoFundMe campaign was set up by family friend Tanisha Duncan to support Jayden and help cover the unexpected funeral expenses. Jessica's funeral was a somber occasion, marked by the outpouring of love from friends, family, and community members. The grief was palpable as her loved ones said their final goodbyes to a woman who had touched so many lives with her warmth, laughter, and love. Jessica's tragic death raises several important questions. How can we protect those caught in toxic, abusive relationships? Why do so many victims of domestic violence feel trapped, unable to escape their abusers? And most importantly, how can we as a society better support those at risk of such violence? Jessica's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the consequences of domestic violence. Her death should not be in vain, but serve as a call to action for everyone to stand against violence and to help those who are suffering in silence. Please share Jessica's story, raise awareness about domestic violence, and help ensure that no one else has to endure such a tragic fate. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.